Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, our own notes, and we pull out the really important stuff, the key insights, just for you.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a question that, well, it might make you grip your wallet a bit tighter.
Yeah, it really might. Is the value of the dollar, the cash you use every day, is it slowly, kind of silently, just wasting away?
It's a huge question, isn't it? And it's one that, honestly, more and more people seem to be asking. They're looking around, seeing things change, and wondering what's going on.
Right. So our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack the evidence we've gathered from all these sources. We're going to look at some surprising facts, some, frankly, unsettling ones too.
And really try to understand the impact, what actually happens when you, as one commentator put it so bluntly, flood the market with quadrillions.
Uh-huh. Yeah, quadrillions. Love that. But seriously, we're going deep into the core problem, the steady erosion of traditional money, specifically the U.S. dollar.
And we'll pinpoint the main cause, which our sources make pretty clear is just unprecedented money printing, especially since 2020. That year was a big one.
A massive turning point.
Yeah.
And then we're going to introduce Bitcoin, but not just as, some digital fad or a thing to speculate on.
No, we're looking at it as a potentially revolutionary alternative, what some people are starting to call hard money you can't mess with.
Exactly. Hard money you can't mess with. I like that.
And what's really striking looking through all this research is this emerging consensus that 2020, it wasn't just about the pandemic.
Right. Much bigger implications.
It's being flagged as this critical moment in economic history, the year that maybe nobody expected it, but it triggered this acceleration, the end of the dollar era, perhaps.
And the start of something new, the Bitcoin era.
Some would say the inevitable start. Yeah, it sounds radical, I know, hearing it like that.
It does, yeah.
But the data underneath it all, when you really dig in, it points to this huge undeniable shift that's called what's already happening.
Okay, so let's peel back those layers. Let's understand this story as it unfolds, starting with the problem that's already hitting your wallet right now.
The erosion of value, a deep dive into the dollar's demise.
Right. Let's start with something really stark, something everyone can relate to. Did you know the U.S. dollar, its actual buying power, has been cut in half in just the last 30 years?
Half. It's staggering when you frame it like that.
Think about it. $50 in your pocket 30 years ago.
Yes.
What that should buy then? Today, it buys what, like $25 would have bought?
Or put another way, every dollar you managed to save back then, effectively it's worth 50 cents today. 50 cents!
It's like this slow, silent pickpocket, isn't
Yeah.
it? Just constantly chipping away at your wealth, and you barely notice until, bam, it's significant.
And when you connect that slow bleed to the bigger economic picture, the simplest answer, but also the most profound one from all our sources, it's unavoidable.
What is it?
They're printing money, trillions and trillions of dollars of it. It's not hidden. It's policy.
But the sheer scale of it,
Yeah.
especially lately, it's hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like Dave Portnoy, the Barstool sports guy.
Yeah.
He put it so bluntly, his usual style.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what did he say?
He just laid it out. You can't just be like, oh, here's a quadrillion, quadrillion, quadrillion.
Yeah.
You flood the market with quadrillions. The quadrillions mean nothing.
Quadrillion. Okay, not a real number, but the point stands.
Exactly. It captures that basic economic truth. If you flood the market with something, anything, its value plummets. Unlimited diamonds, suddenly worthless. Same thing with money.
And for a long time, this was gradual, right? Almost invisible, like a slow leak in a tire.
You only notice when it's almost flat. Until recently.
2020. That's the year that leaps out from all the analysis, March 2020. That was the moment the money printers just went into, into absolute overdrive.
Oh, I remember. The chaos, the pandemic hits, lockdowns everywhere, travel bans, everything just stopped.
Those images. Times Square completely deserted, eerie, usually millions of people, just silence. A world grinding to a halt.
And the economic hit wasn't gradual at all. It was immediate, brutal. The S&P 500 dropped, 33% in weeks.
An insane drop. And jobs. 55 million Americans lost their jobs. Think about that number.
It's staggering. And small businesses, the local places, restaurants, shops, just wiped out. So many closed for good.
Lifeblood of communities. Gone. At one point, nearly half the country's workforce was either jobless or underemployed. It was bleak.
We saw something like $16 trillion in wealth just evaporate. Gone. in weeks.
People were genuinely talking about a second Great Depression. It felt like we were right on the edge of this
Yeah.
this financial crash to end all crashes.
And that tension, that economic despair, it spilled over too, didn't it?
Right.
Fueling unrest, riots in cities, exposing all these deep inequalities.
Absolutely. Which leads to the big question, how did we not fall off that cliff? How is this crash to end all crashes averted?
Yeah. What was the solution?
Well, the solution, according to our sources, was just unprecedented in scale and speed. The Fed, Congress, working together, they just started pumping trillions into the economy.
Trillions. You saw the headlines. Fed will pump another $2.3 trillion. Congress agrees. $2 trillion stimulus. $6 trillion. It was just number after number.
More money created in that short burst than most people could even conceive of.
So the obvious question is, where did all that money actually come from?
And the answer, straight from the horse's mouth, from Fed Chair Jerome Powell himself, is kind of mind-blowing.
What did he say?
He was asked directly, right, is it fair to say you simply flooded the system with money? And Powell, yes, we did. No hesitation.
Wow. Oh.
Then they pressed him, where does it come from? Do you just print it? His answer, we print it digitally.
Digitally. So not like physically printing presses.
We, as a central bank, have the ability to create money. That was the admission. They basically hit a button, added trillions to their digital ledger.
And promised infinite cash if needed.
Yeah.
Just created out of thin air.
Yeah. Out of thin air. Like digital rain.
But the outcome,
Yeah.
the result of all that digital rain, it wasn't equal, was it?
Not even close. Profoundly unequal. The stock market, which mostly benefits people who already own assets, it recovered incredibly fast. Record highs by August 2020.
While the pandemic was still raging.
Exactly. Wall Street wasn't just saved, it thrived. But Main Street, the devastation continued. 16 million jobs lost in just 3 weeks.
Those pictures. Food bank lines stretching for blocks and blocks.
8 blocks long in New York, it just highlights this massive gap, right? This systemic problem.
Which is?
When you create money from nothing and pump it into the system, it always goes to those closest to the source first. The big banks, big corporations, the wealthy asset owner.
So the rich get richer because their assets inflate.
And everyone else, their wages don't keep up, their savings buy less. They basically get screwed.
It's disturbing. And it's not hidden, is it? The Fed's own data shows this.
Right. Their own chart. Tracking the dollar's purchasing power over the last century, it's a clear downward slope. They are devaluing your savings every single year. It's baked into the system.
Like they're setting fire to a little bit of your cash pile annually.
That's a good way to put it. And this trend, it's been happening for decades, but 2020, the scale was just off the charts. $3 trillion added to the Fed's balance sheet in just 3 months.
More new dollars created in a few weeks than in the first couple of centuries of the U.S. combined.
Pretty much. Unbelievable expansion.
And this explosion of money printing, it led to that meme, didn't it? The money printer go brr meme.
Yeah, that image of the crazy-eyed banker just churning out cash.
And suddenly, it wasn't just an internet joke. It was in Bloomberg, Forbes, the Wall Street Journal.
Which was significant. It meant people were waking up. Normal folks, not just economists, started asking the hard questions.
Like, what happens if we keep doing this? Does the dollar become worthless? And hey, why do I pay taxes if they can just print it?
It was a collective light bulb moment about how the system actually works.
It makes you think of that Henry Ford quote.
Oh, the one about revolution?
Yeah. It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning.
Chillingly accurate, wasn't he? Even back then.
So this isn't just a 2020 thing. It connects to deeper problems, right? The whole banking system.
Absolutely. The roots go way back. Think about the 2008 financial crisis. You know, the Big Short stuff, the flaws exposed then. They're still fundamentally there.
And that crisis hit people hard. Jason Williams, one of our main sources today, he talks about his own family losing homes.
Right, because of these ridiculous jumbo loans and the, what did he call them? Snake oil and NG brokers.
And NG loans. No income, no job, no assets. How could that possibly work?
It couldn't, but they were handing them out like crazy, incentivized by volume, not quality, just pure recklessness.
And then the banks took these toxic loans.
These dog shit bonds, as the movie so elegantly put it.
Yeah. And they didn't just sell them. They chopped them up, mixed them together, wrapped them in financial jargon, creating dog shit wrapped in garbage CDOs, collateralized debt obligations.
So complex, nobody understood the risk anymore, not even the banks themselves.
Pretty much. They bundled thousands of mortgages, good and bad, sliced them into layers, sold off the pieces. It hid the risk until it all inevitably blew up. They couldn't even track who owned what property when defaults started.
And the fallout. Devastating. 3 million foreclosures, unemployment doubled.
A whole generation graduating into that mess felt, as Jason said, punched in the gut. No jobs, tons of debt, bred deep skepticism about banks.
And the ultimate insult, the banks that caused it all.
Bailed out. With our money, taxpayer money, just cemented that distrust.
Which brings us to the core mechanic, doesn't it? Fractional reserve banking.
Exactly. That's the system we operate under. Banks only keep a tiny fraction of your deposits on hand.
The rest, they lend it out. That loan gets deposited elsewhere, that bank keeps a fraction, lends out the rest. It multiplies, creates money through debt.
Waves of credit bubbles with barely a fraction in reserve, as Satoshi Nakamoto put it.
That's the quote. It's inherently unstable. If too many loans go bad or too many people want their money back at once, the whole thing can collapse. They are fundamentally messing with your money.
Which perfectly sets up the problem with digital money as we knew it and centralized control, the double spend problem.
Right. The Harold and the MP3 analogy, if Harold sends his unique Wu-Tang track MP3.
CREAM.
Haha, yeah, CREAM. If he sends it, he still has it, and his friend has an identical copy. You can't have digital cash that works like that. Everyone would just copy-paste money.
Instant worthlessness.
So the solution for ages has been a middleman, a centralized authority, a bank.
The bank checks Harold's account, deducts $5, adds $5 to Sarah's, makes sure it only happens once.
But the massive flaw is you have to trust that middleman, that bank, that shady third party.
And the source says, the problem is that you have to trust someone, and they rarely do the right thing with your money.
History proves that point again and again. Mismanagement, fraud, self-interest.
And we saw a really scary example in 2013, didn't we? Cyprus.
Oh yeah, the bail-in.
Yeah.
The Cypriot banks were failing, so the government just took people's money, a one-time tax, directly from their bank account.
Imagine that. People banging on bank windows, try to get their savings, and finding it partly confiscated.
Panic. And what happened to Bitcoin's price then?
It soared, right. People rushed to buy it, something the government couldn't touch.
Exactly. It was Bitcoin's first major real-world stress test. And it worked. Censorship-resistant, non-confiscatable money.
Now, I know what people listening are thinking, okay, Cyprus, but that could never happen here. Not in America.
It's an understandable thought. But remember Dodd-Frank, the big law passed after 2008?
Vaguely, yeah. Lots of regulations.
Well, buried in there are provisions for statutory bail-ins. It means, legally, if a too-big-to-fail bank gets into trouble again, they can use depositor money, your money, to save themselves.
Wait, seriously? They can just take it?
Convert it into bank equity, essentially. Shah Gilani, a former hedge fund guy, warned about it explicitly. Depositors could have their money confiscated and turned into shares in a failing bank.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
So the money in my bank account isn't really mine in the way I think it is.
It's effectively an unsecured loan to the bank.
Yeah.
In a crisis, you're just another creditor. They can potentially take it.
Bitcoin, the revolution of hard money.
Okay, so the dollar's value is leaking, the banking system is shaky, maybe even predatory. Where does that leave us? This is where Bitcoin comes in, right?
Right. And it didn't just pop up randomly. It came directly out of that 2008 crisis.
Mm-hmm.
It was conceived basically as a giant middle finger to that whole rig system.
Oh, screw you to the bailouts in the broken finance world.
Pretty much. Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's creator, still anonymous, by the way, put a message right into the very first block of Bitcoin ever created. The Genesis block.
What was the message?
A headline from the Times newspaper. The Times 03 Jan 2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Wow. Talk about a statement of intent.
Exactly. Bitcoin was designed from day one as digital money for a digital world, but crucially, completely separate from banks and governments, independent.
It takes people a while to get their heads around it, though. Jason Williams, our source, he admits he was a huge skeptic at first.
Oh, yeah. Magic internet money. Seriously.
Yeah.
That was his reaction. This was 2017, after he'd already made a fortune in healthcare and was investing conventionally.
Real estate startups, the usual stuff. He wasn't looking for some radical new money.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then the story gets wild. The FBI shows up at his door.
The FBI.
Because he'd imported like 500 Bitcoin miners, these specialized computers from China. And the feds Couldn't figure out where all the electricity was going. His power bill didn't match the hardware. They thought he was running some massive illegal operation.
So what was he doing?
Something incredible. He had this tire recycling plant. He was taking old tires, breaking them down using pyrolysis.
Into what?
Syngas, oil, heat, carbon. Basically capturing energy from waste tires.
Yeah.
And he used that energy completely off-grid to power his Bitcoin miners.
Whoa.
Mm.
The world's first waste-to-energy crypto mine.
That's what he calls it, genius,
Yeah.
right? Solving an environmental problem and mining Bitcoin.
So that experience, that hands-on engineering,
Yeah.
that's what converted him, not ideology.
Exactly. He says he's not a radical libertarian or a cryptography nerd. He's a scientist, an engineer who loves building things. He tested Bitcoin, understood its mechanics from the ground up, and then went all in.
And his core takeaway, the essence of Bitcoin for him.
Simple, powerful.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is just hard money you can't mess with.
Okay, can't mess with. Break that down. What does that mean practically?
Two key things. First, no one can mess with your money. It's outside the system. Banks can't freeze it. Governments can't easily seize it. It's borderless, permissionless.
So censorship resistant.
Totally. No single person, group, or company controls it. The network itself is decentralized. It's never been hacked. Can't be shut down by flipping a switch somewhere. It's a parallel financial system.
And if you want to learn more about how that decentralized system actually works, the community, the resources, bitcoinbytes.org is a good place to start looking. That's bitcoinbytes.org.
Good resource. And the second key point.
What's the second way you can't mess with it?
No one can mess with the Bitcoin money supply. Unlike dollars, where they print trillions whenever they feel like it, Bitcoin's total supply is absolutely fixed. 21 million BTC, period. It's hard-coded into the software, programmed way out into the future. Anyone can check the code. That predictable, unchangeable supply is what makes it hard money. It can't be inflated away.
That fixed supply, that scarcity, that's the core value proposition, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's fundamental. New Bitcoin gets created, or mined, when these powerful computers solve complex math puzzles.
And they get rewarded for validating transactions and adding them to the blockchain, the public ledger.
Right. Currently, the reward is 6.25 BTC every 10 minutes or so. But the absolute key, the revolutionary part, only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. Ever.
And that taps into something deep in us, doesn't it? We value rarity.
Totally primal. Gold is valuable because it's scarce. Rare art, limited edition sneakers, even like a holographic Charizard Pokemon card versus a common Squirtle.
Haha, okay, I see the Pokemon comparison. The Charizards worth thousands, the Squirtle, pennies. Scarcity matters.
Exactly. But Bitcoin takes scarcity to another level. Gold is scarce, sure. Maybe all the gold ever mined fits into Olympic pools.
But we could find more, right? Asteroid mining, whatever. We don't know the total supply.
Precisely. Bitcoin isn't just scarce, it's finite. We know the exact number, 21 million. It's right there in the code. Provable. In the digital world, only Bitcoin and maybe time itself are truly finite. That's digital scarcity.
And there's that built-in mechanism, the halving.
Ah, yes, the halving. Genius design. Roughly every 4 years, the reward for mining new Bitcoin gets cut in half automatically.
So it started at 50 BTC per block, then 25, then 12.5.
And now 6.25. And it keeps halving. So the rate of new supply entering the market keeps decreasing, making it scarcer and scarcer over time.
Which creates a supply shock, right? If demand stays the same or goes up and supply gets squeezed.
Price tends to go up. It's baked into the code, predictable for centuries. No human emotion involved, just math.
And this predictable scarcity has led to the whole HODL thing.
Exactly. HOL, that famous misspelling of hold from an old forum post. It's become the philosophy.
Because most Bitcoin is already out there, like 19-point-something million out of 21 million.
Right, around 19.68 million are mined now.
Yeah.
And something like 22% haven't moved in over 5 years. People are accumulating, holding long term.
So the advice is, don't spend it on coffee.
Pretty much, don't buy coffee with Bitcoin. Accumulate it, hold it. Every coin someone hodls makes the available supply even tighter, potentially driving up the value for everyone else. It's a game of accumulation.
And now big players are getting into that game. Corporations.
Yes, that's the huge shift. Big companies, investment funds, they're buying significant amounts. Square, Grayscale. They're reportedly buying up all the newly mined Bitcoin as it's created.
All of it. So demand is starting to outstrip the new supply.
It seems that way, which pushes us towards this scenario where the available supply just dries up. That could cause some serious price pressure upward.
Okay, so scarcity, fixed supply. This all points to Bitcoin as a store of value, right? Like digital gold.
That's the primary use case right now, yes.
Mm.
Just like gold held value, because you couldn't just make more of it. Bitcoin is mathematically designed to protect your purchasing power from being inflated away.
Because the supply is fixed, predictable, robotic even.
Exactly. Robotic, algorithmic. No human fiddling with the supply based on politics or greed or fear. It's impartial, neutral, predictable. That makes it inherently fair, unlike fiat currencies controlled by committees.
But still, the question comes up, why not just buy gold? It's worked for thousands of years.
Fair question. And our sources tackle this head-on, comparing them, using specific criteria for what makes good money.
Like divisibility, scarcity, verifiability.
Right. And portability, durability, censorship resistance. And when you stack Bitcoin against gold on these points, Bitcoin wins on almost everything except one.
Okay, how? Divisibility.
Bitcoin is purely digital, so you can divide it down to a tiny fraction, a Satoshi, 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. Try doing that accurately with the gold bar for small payments.
Verification.
Easy with Bitcoin. Check the public blockchain, verifying gold's purity. Needs specialized equipment, often costly. You can send billions in Bitcoin value across the world in minutes with just a digital key. Try flying with billions in gold bullion. Not happening.
Okay, so Bitcoin wins on tech aspects. What's gold's advantage?
History. Track record. Established history, as the source puts it. Gold's been money for millennia. Bitcoin's only been around since 2009. It's still young.
But there's that Lindy effect idea.
Exactly. The longer something non-perishable like a technology survives, the longer it's expected to survive. Every year, Bitcoin keeps working, keeps resisting attacks, it gets lendier, its perceived lifespan increases.
And Michael Saylor's point about gold being static.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Sure.
Gold is not going to get a million times smarter in the next 10 years. Bitcoin, though, it's a network, it's software, it's constantly improving, getting stronger, faster, more secure.
Hard money that grows exponentially harder every day.
That's his line. It's dynamic, anti-fragile. Gold just sits there.
There's also that philosophical angle. Buying gold is betting against progress.
Kind of. Betting will revert to shiny rocks. Bitcoin is optimistic, betting on code, on innovation, on building something better than the broken systems we have.
And purely from an investment view, Bitcoin versus gold market cap.
Huge difference. Bitcoin's market cap is maybe $1.3 trillion right now. Gold, around $14.5 trillion.
So if Bitcoin just catches up to gold, that's like an 11x from here.
Potentially, yeah. It highlights how undervalued it might still be, just as a digital store of value replacing gold's role.
Okay, let's hit some criticisms. It's just code. Can't they change the 21 million limit?
Good question. Technically, yes, the code could be changed, but practically, almost impossible.
Why?
It would need near universal agreement from everyone running the network, miners, nodes, users, developers. If someone tried to force a change to the 21 million cap, the community would almost certainly reject it. They just fork off, create a new coin.
And the original Bitcoin with the 21 million cap would just keep going.
Exactly. That limit is seen as sacred, fundamental. It's socially baked in, not just technically. Trying to change it would destroy its value proposition.
What about anyone can create a cryptocurrency? There are thousands of them.
True, but our sources draw some sharp distinctions. First, Bitcoin, not crypto. Meaning Bitcoin is the invention. The digital hard money with the fixed cap, secured by the world's most powerful computing network, dedicated only to that job. Most other cryptos are more like tech projects, maybe with different goals, different supply schedules, often more centralized.
Second point.
Bitcoin has been tested.
Yeah.
And tested. And tested. It survived the 2008 crisis context, survived bans, attacks, hacks on exchanges around it, and it keeps getting stronger. No other crypto has that decade-plus battle hardening.
And third, the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, that refers to its origin. It wasn't launched by a company for profit, no VC funding, no pre-mine giving founders a huge stash. It started as an open-source experiment for cypherpunks.
So its growth was organic. No CEO, no marketing budget.
Completely organic, grassroots, that's unique. Many other coins had ICOs, centralized teams, big marketing pushes. It's a different starting point, a different DNA.
Plus, money tends towards one winner, right? Like search has Google, video has YouTube.
The winner takes most, network effect. Bitcoin is so dominant in the crypto space, its nearest real competitor is like 55 times smaller in value. That suggests a similar dynamic is playing out. It's consolidating its position.
The tipping point, Bitcoin's inevitable rise.
Okay, so we see the foundation. How does this play out going forward? The sources talk about Bitcoin's number go up technology. these cycles.
Right, driven by that fixed supply and the halvings, cutting new issuance. Historically, we've seen these roughly 4-year cycles. Price runs up, attracts attention, corrects, consolidates higher. Then the next halving kicks off the next cycle.
And each cycle brings in new people, new adoption.
Exactly. It started with the cypherpunks, libertarians, then maybe early tech adopters, Silicon Valley types, then retail speculators jumping in.
Each bubble, even when it pops, acts like marketing.
A giant marketing campaign for Bitcoin, as the source says. It draws in talent, developers, investors. And the bear markets afterwards are painful, sure, but they shake out the weak hands.
Transferring Bitcoin to the rock-solid hodlers.
Right. The long-term believers who understand it, which strengthens the base for the next cycle. And now, we're arguably in stage 4.
Which is
Widespread corporate treasury adoption. This is the big one.
led by Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy.
He's the poster child, definitely. CEO of a publicly traded tech company. In 2020, he looked at their $500 million cash reserve.
And saw it melting.
Exactly. A $500 million ice cube that's melting due to inflation and zero interest rates. The traditional treasury strategy felt like guaranteed loss of purchasing power.
So he did something radical.
Totally radical at the time. Converted $425 million of their cash into Bitcoin, made it their primary treasury reserve asset, the first public company to do that.
Not just a spec play, but a strategic balance sheet decision.
Right. And that, as Saylor put it, broke the 4-minute mile for corporations. It showed it could be done. It was possible, maybe even prudent.
Which triggered game theory. Other CEOs had to start thinking about it.
Had to. If your competitor's protecting their treasury from inflation with Bitcoin and you're just holding melting cash, you look negligent.
And others followed. Square.
Jack Dorsey's company put $50 million of their assets into Bitcoin soon after. Cited unprecedented uncertainty, mowed global holdings in the UK. Dozens more quietly followed or are exploring it.
And the potential is huge. $5 trillion in corporate cash out there.
Something like that, across 41,000 public companies. Even a small percentage shifting into Bitcoin would have a massive impact on demand, given the fixed supply.
There's also that regulatory moat idea,
Mm-hmm.
because big players like BlackRock own MicroStrategy stock.
Yeah, it's an interesting angle. BlackRock, Vanguard, the biggest asset managers, they hold MicroStrategy. So they have indirect Bitcoin exposure. Makes it politically much harder for the government to just ban Bitcoin outright because these powerful institutions and their clients would fight back.
It pulls Bitcoin further into the mainstream financial system.
Definitely. And Saylor himself, he tweeted dismissively about Bitcoin back in 2013. Now he's arguably its biggest public advocate.
This is how Bitcoin gets you. Slowly, then all at once.
That quote sums it up perfectly.
Okay, let's look at the pressure on the other side on fiat currencies. The U.S. debt. It's enormous.
Astronomical. $34.5 trillion. Over 128% of GDP. Historically, numbers like that usually end badly for a currency.
Either default, which is unthinkable for the U.S.,
or massive devaluation, printing your way out of it, essentially making the debt worth less in real terms.
because raising taxes or cutting spending is political suicide.
Pretty much. So you get the fourth option, as Trump put it. You never have to default because you print the money.
But that printing hurts ordinary people through inflation, right? The Cantillon effect.
Exactly. The new money flows first to banks and financial assets. Stocks go up, real estate goes up, benefiting the wealthy owners.
While wages stay flat and the cost of living goes up for everyone else.
It's a hidden tax, a wealth transfer upwards. You see it clearly in that WTF happened in 1971 chart.
After Nixon took the dollar off gold.
Yeah. Wages flattened, inequality soared, inflation exploded over 2,300% cumulative since then versus just 300% in the 60 years before. It makes things like buying a house incredibly hard for younger generations.
And central banks want inflation, don't they? They target 2%.
They do. And they keep interest rates near zero, so your savings earn nothing, and they lose 2% or more purchasing power every year. It punishes savers.
And forces you into riskier assets.
Mhm.
Stocks, real estate. You got to buy it now because it'll cost more later.
It's a deliberate political choice to incentivize spending and borrowing, even at the cost of devaluing savings.
And this isn't just the U.S., right? It's global.
Mm-hmm.
A currency war.
Oh, yeah. Every major economy tries to devalue its currency slightly to make its exports cheaper. China, Europe, the U.S. They accuse each other of manipulation, but they all basically do it.
A race to the bottom. Like trying to sell cheaper Lamborghinis by weakening your currency.
Good analogy. It means your citizens' savings buy less internationally, but maybe you sell more cars.
So the bottom line, whether it's Trump or Biden or whoever comes next,
The message is clear. They will dilute your savings. The printing press, digital or otherwise, isn't going away.
which makes Bitcoin, with its fixed supply, look like an escape hatch.
A savings technology, as the source calls it, designed specifically to resist that devaluation, to hold and ideally accrue value against failing fiat.
But governments see this, and they're reacting, aren't they, with CBDCs, central bank digital currencies.
Yes, this is the next frontier, and frankly, it's terrifying. Bitcoin kind of kicked open the door, showed digital money was possible outside banks. Then Facebook's Libra project spooked governments into action.
Congressman Warren Davis, there's Bitcoin and then there's shitcoin.
Trying to differentiate.
Yeah. Governments went from ignoring Bitcoin, laughing at it,
To fighting it.
and now to creating their own versions. Look at Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Called Bitcoin a fraud. Then JPM launches its own coin. Facebook banned crypto ads, then tried to launch Libra, ECB, IMF, Fed. They all dismissed it. Now they're all racing to build digital euros, digital dollars.
Why is that terrifying? Convenience.
It's not about convenience, it's about control. The sources paint a chilling picture. 2040, cash is gone. All money is digital, issued by the central bank,
Meaning?
meaning they can track every single transaction you make, build profiles, block purchases they don't like, maybe guns, maybe donations to certain groups, automatically deduct taxes, program money to expire, freeze your funds for minor offenses like protesting.
Social control through money.
Exactly. And it's not sci-fi. Look at
Yeah.
China's DCDP, the digital yuan.
It's already rolling out, people using it for wages. Starbucks. Yes, and it's being linked to their social credit system. Behave badly, maybe your digital wallet gets restricted. And China wants to export this model, challenge the dollar globally via WeChat Pay and Alipay.
So the US and Europe are racing to catch up, build their own digital dollar, digital euro.
An arms race to maintain monetary dominance. But the question for us, for you listening, is huge. How much privacy, how much freedom are we willing to trade for the convenience of buying a coffee with government-controlled digital cash?
The argument is these spyware currencies will just push more people towards the alternative, toward Bitcoin.
That's the bet. People will seek out money that protects their privacy and autonomy.
Which brings us to the ultimate game theory. Nation-states getting into Bitcoin.
It feels like the next logical, maybe inevitable step. We're seeing hints already. Iran using Bitcoin mined domestically to pay for imports, bypassing sanctions.
A global-scale Silk Road, using Bitcoin to avoid the dollar system.
Potentially. Rogue states like Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, they're likely already using it for that purpose. But the big question is, who's the legitimate nation-state that goes first?
The nation-state equivalent of MicroStrategy, a country that says, we're adding Bitcoin to our reserves as an inflation hedge.
Exactly. Maybe a smaller tech-savvy country, someone tired of inflation crises, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, somewhere unexpected.
And if one country does it, and benefits.
Then the FOMO kicks in, fear of missing out, but on a geopolitical scale. If Ukraine starts accumulating Bitcoin, does Russia just watch? No way, they start buying.
If Russia buys, does China sit out?
Unlikely. They buy. If China builds a big Bitcoin reserve, does America ignore it?
Absolutely not. America gets involved. Becomes a global arms race, but for Bitcoin reserves.
Reshaping global power dynamics, potentially, which might lead to the war on Bitcoin phase Eric Voskuil talked about.
Honeymoon, black market, competition, surrender.
But the core belief is, you can't fuck with Bitcoin. It's resilient like a cockroach. Ban it here, it pops up there. The network keeps ticking.
So the final choice becomes clearer. Politicized, surveilled, devaluing fiat.
Versus money that no one can mess with. Independent, neutral, designed to hold value, impossible to manipulate or confiscate, running on faster, cheaper rails, secured by immense computing power.
The choice seems obvious when you put it like that.
For many, yeah. You choose Bitcoin. Outro.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the deep dive. We went from the dollar slowly losing its punch.
To the flaws in the banks, the rise of Bitcoin as this truly different kind of hard money.
And now this accelerating wave of adoption companies, maybe even countries soon.
And through it all, the message that keeps coming back from the sources, even with all this growth, is you're still early. Sounds cliche maybe, but...
Jason Williams thought he was late buying at $300.
Exactly. He looks back now and just laughs. This isn't about next month or next year. This is thinking in decades, generations, centuries.
Thinking about Bitcoin as potentially the next global reserve currency.
And the numbers, just for perspective. If Bitcoin matches gold's market cap, That puts one BTC around, what, $700,000 based on today's gold value.
And if it starts displacing the broader money supply, M1, M2, the numbers get astronomical, like potentially millions per coin. Hypothetically, of course.
Hypothetically. But it frames the scale of the potential shift. And the core point isn't just getting rich.
No, it's bigger than that. Not a new fintech app for buying coffee.
It's a whole new form of money, a new financial system, a parallel universe. For people in collapsing economies, it's already a lifeline.
And for the rest of us, maybe an escape route from the inevitable hyper-surveillance digital currencies heading our way. Like the resource bitcoinbytes.org, bitcoinbytes.org, might help people explore that escape route.
It really reframes things, doesn't it? Makes you pause before spending it.
You really want to give up your share of this scarce asset to buy a cup of coffee at Dunks.
Haha, yeah. It's like that Matrix quote. Neo asks if he can trade his Bitcoin for millions one day.
And Morpheus says,
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
meaning the value isn't just in cashing out, but in the system itself becoming the standard.
Exactly. So the final thought to leave you with is this. As the old systems falter, devalue, become tools of control, maybe people just start to opt out.
And they gather around something different, something neutral, independent, fair for everyone.
No more devaluation, no more confiscations or censorship. A truly sound money for a digital age. That's the potential.
A lot to think about. And that's our deep dive for today. Join us next time as we unpack more sources and insights into this rapidly changing world.